the Soviet Union, the advance of capitalism, have vanquished old challenges to America's global leadership, but new challenges have emerged from China and India and Eastern Europe, even countries like Brazil. Jobs and industries can move to any country with internet connection and willing workers.
The contemporary economic strategy that maintains the world marketplace should be free of local, national, or regional limits.
Live in a place where, at least in my lifetime, people in the United States would be concerned about China and India. 20 years ago, that was not even a...
That was up until 1995, everybody was prepared to say that everything about globalization was great. But that subsequently people have started to see that there are, in fact, not one, but maybe several dark sides to globalization.
To truly understand the origins of how globalization came to take over the world, we must go back in time through history. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Cause and effect, means and ends, seed and fruit cannot be severed. For the effect already blooms in the cause, the end pre-exists in the means, the fruit in the seed." Globalization and the flattening of the world manifested as a fruit in the seed of history and its life-changing events. The concept of globalization, the process by which different societies around the globe become fused into one melting pot of technology, culture, and economy, has been recognized as a common term used in the 21st century. However, the developing world has been privy to the numerous affairs of globalization through different significant events in history previous to the development of the modern world, therefore contributing to Friedman's notions and beliefs that the world is ultimately flat. The Industrial Revolution, starting in the 18th century, developed a brand new way of life where advancements in industry, agriculture, and society helped mark a new era for the flattening world. Imperialism, the taking over of another country by a dominant power which monitors that country's economy, culture, and territory, spread throughout the globe during the mid-18th century, expediting the process of globalization by taking third world countries and turning them into newborn, fast-paced societies. The Great War, a bloody war between numerous nations across the globe, produced advanced military technology which was then distributed throughout the world, promoting globalization. After the end of the First World War, there was an interwar period where everyone across the globe lived in uncertainty and fear, therefore giving rise to fascist dictators and many new revelations that modernized many countries. During the Cold War, an arms race between Russia and the United States to collect weapons and allies, various third world countries were taken over by the US or Russia, with the promise that their way of life would be of better quality in exchange to participate as pawns in the war, therefore aiding the process of globalization. Different forms of globalization exist on all the planes of history, therefore corroborating Friedman's theory that the world is flattening. Industrialization swept across the world very rapidly, causing people to jump right into a new unprecedented way of life. With the industry growing faster than agriculture, large cities and factories came to play a leading role in society rather than small towns and farms. Soon, everyone made their way to those cities to get jobs in factories. The instantaneous growth of cities caused them to morph into a whole new society, which stood upon the basis of advancements in technology, transportation, and agriculture. The Industrial Revolution was the initial and most important sign of globalization, because without all of the advancements discovered during the revolution, societies across the globe would not be as far along advanced as they are today. Secondly, many transportation improvements, such as the steam-driven locomotives and railroads, spurred by the Industrial Revolution. Rivert Trevithick invented the first working steam locomotive, but after many built off his idea, railroads were built, therefore making long-distance trips much easier. This evolution in transportation allowed citizens of different countries to get to one another and communicate more effectively, therefore introducing industrialization to the whole world. The locomotives also allowed many new trade routes to be opened up, therefore expanding world trade. All of the changes made during the Industrial Revolution exhibit the permanent effect it had on the evolving world in terms of globalization. Industrial Revolution in full swing, Europeans began to need more resources in order to maintain mass production. As a result, they began to imperialize other countries in order to gain their needed resources. During the process of imperialism, the imperialized countries followed the policy of assimilation, the idea that over time citizens would adopt the culture of another country, along with most of their technological advancements and knowledge. Assimilation ultimately transformed imperialized countries into mirror images of their oppressors, thus closing the gap between third world countries and other countries of the developed world. Europeans colonized vast areas of the world like the Congo, Liberia, and most of Africa by using different forms of imperialism and methods of management. They exerted indirect control using economic imperialism on several countries such as Hawaii, which is controlled by the Dole Fruit Company and trade. Once many powerful countries spread their companies far and wide, economic imperialism created an even balance between countries around the world. Each country was determined to plant its flag on as much of the world as possible, therefore rising the level of many third world countries to be on the same plane as the industrialized countries. The fierce competition of imperialism drove European nations to the verge of war, ultimately becoming a prime instigator behind the Great War. With the rising tensions, countries started to form alliances with one another, but with those alliances between large countries came alliances between all the imperialized countries. Once the Central Powers, like Germany and the Ottoman Empire, took weaponry against the Allies, France, the United States, and Serbia, advanced weaponry became available to all of the imperialized countries as well. Many people died due to the rapid distribution of machinery technology during the war. However, the weapons of war strengthened many weaker countries who would never have gotten such advanced technology before. The effects of the Great War are seen throughout the flattened world today, as most countries, no matter how small or big, have the opportunity to receive advanced weaponry, therefore modernizing and generalizing everyone's defense forces. The end of the Great War left many with conflicting feelings, causing them to question their old beliefs and create new theories and inventions. The interwar period yielded many new technological advancements, such as automobiles, airplanes, and radio. Cars were produced rapidly by the British, creating 511,000 cars a year, therefore making them affordable to the middle class and not only the high class. This made the commute to work much easier, and more people traveled, shrinking the world in the process. Next came airplanes. These inventions were much faster and easier than ground transportation, and took people to whatever place in the world they wanted to go. Many forms of entertainment were introduced during the 1920s, such as radio. Radio allowed people around the world to hear what was going on in other cities and countries, and it kept everyone in the loop, making the world a much smaller place. The Cold War began as a struggle over democracy versus communism between the US and the Soviet Union, but soon turned into a non-violent battle for power. Europe was split in half between the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, composed of the US, Canada, and Western nations, and the Warsaw Pact, composed of the USSR and Eastern nations. Both sides were turning to third world countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America to be pawns in their grand scheme in return for aiding them with military supplies and industrialization. The United States also gave military aid, built schools, set up programs to combat poverty, and sent volunteer workers to many developing nations. With this overflow of help around the world, the Cold War was a huge help to the spread of globalization. While the war was underway, third world countries across the globe were receiving help they never dreamed of, therefore raising them above from the ground and helping them enter the fast-paced world. The seed of history has proven that the fruit of globalization and the flattening of the world is still rapidly growing. The flattening that is seen throughout society today is just the beginning of a global phenomenon that will cause much controversy and power struggle. Soon enough, every country in the world will have the same resources as the US, and it won't matter where anyone lives, because they will still be exposed to the same technology and other advancements. Twitter, Facebook, television, and large corporations such as McDonald's are all connecting the dots between countries across the globe. Everyone is in the race to be ahead in all ways of life, but technology is making the finish line move farther and farther away. As shown throughout history, the progression of a flat world is truly inevitable.